Welcome to the Let's Get Vulnerable podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Morgan, and today we are in studio in LA, and I have a very special guest. She has helped thousands of people. I'm lucky enough to call her my mentor and my friend. She has such a powerful story. I know you all are going to love her as much as I do. Welcome to the show, Tiffany Carter.
Woohoo!
We're here.
Trigger warning. Trigger
Yes.
motherfucker warning. Okay, people.
I love how open you are. And it is one of the things that obviously drew me to you, draws so many people to you. You are real and honest and vulnerable. Perfect for this show.
I didn't used to be this way, which I know we'll get into, but
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I just want to first off say, I am just so incredibly grateful to you. Thank you for all of the things you've done in my life. And you know this. You've had a major impact. And people say you just need that one person that believes in you. And you were that for me to get this show launched. So here we are, episode 590 something. And you were at the very beginning.
Wow. I remember too. I remember all of it. I remember when you were still seeing patients.
Yes.
And a lot of them.
Yeah. It was very, very much a hot mess. You remember the hot mess days?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all are when we're transitioning.
Yes.
When that's like that messy middle I talk about, whether it's in relationships or in business, career, whatever, even in a health journey, there's this period where nothing's working and you're like literally a disaster. And that's what always happens before the big timeline jump occurs.
Yeah.
But most people take all the messiness as a sign that I shouldn't be doing it. I'll never get the person. This will never happen for me. I'll never find my way. And it's navigating through that. What's on the other side is amazing. I wish someone told me that. I had to learn that myself.
Yes. And I want to get all into your journey. And I so appreciate that you were able to see that version of me that was successful, that, was healed and living her best life. Before I saw it, you were able to see it. Yeah. So thank you so much.
And my gut is never, ever wrong. And every single person I've had the gut feeling about where I'm like, no, you've got it. You've got the sauce. You have it. Whether you see it or not, I see it. I've never been wrong. And it's the most rewarding thing. When you had to trust it, though. You had to trust the process. Yes. You had to trust me. You had to trust yourself.
Yes.
And that's a lot. That's more than what most people can do.
Absolutely.
And look at what would have happened hadn't you have done that. All these millions and millions and millions of people that get to hear this show. You have clients that have gotten married. If we hold ourselves back from what we're meant to do and our gifts and our healing.
Yes.
The domino effect goes in reverse, if you withheld from what your true destiny and your calling was.
I know. It's amazing. Just when you think about that, it's actually selfish when we don't heal, when we don't go after what we're meant to do. It's actually selfish. So I'm just so grateful. We could spend the whole podcast talking about it, but I want to get into your story. We would be here for 5 hours if we went through everything. But share what you're comfortable with, just about your childhood trauma and kind of what led you to the breaking point of I have to heal, I have to change, I can't live like this anymore.
Yeah, my story reads like a multi-part, Lifetime movie.
You're writing a book, right?
I've been approached several times for the rights to my story and to the rights to my book, and I've not found the right partner yet. Okay. I have the first 5 chapters of my book, From Abuse to Abundance, that's out on my podcast.
Yep.
So people can go and binge that, if you're interested in hearing more of the detail than we would ever have time to get into today. But the blunt bottom line part of the story is my mom is a true narcissist, not narcissistic tendencies, a true narcissist. Some people would even say a malignant narcissist, very, very sick. And she was my primary parent. My parents were divorced when I was 4. My dad was the quintessential doormat codependent who married the toxic people, more avoidant attachment style, which tracks, right? And so my dad was a sweetie, though, but I didn't have primary access to him, and she withheld access to him. She taught me to actually not like him. Mm-hmm. And so my main exposure, which is an important part of the story, because who we're exposed to repeatedly in any form of our lives, like that's what we pick up on, right?
Yes.
And so it was her, and she groomed me from a really early age and taught me verbally, but taught me like emotional manipulation where, you know, she was my higher power. She was my God. And I was meant to serve her and please her in every way possible. And that meant that you were loving. That meant you were a good daughter. You were a good person. And anything else, you were a bad girl.
Yeah.
And so she taught me that from, you know, birth. And so I became, you know, I always had to be hyper vigilant and watching and listen to her footsteps and adjust my mood. And I just like became a master at doing that. And there was always moving parts because of her being a narcissist. And she played narcissist games because she got off on it. So she got off on watching me, even as a kid, like scramble to please her. She would spill stuff purposely on her comforter and say like, you know, you're not supposed to bring food into the bedroom, and you did. And I knew I didn't, because I was a good girl, because I was scared. And I was, believe it or not, like super shy. So I'm an only child, and both my parents are only children. Mm-hmm. So I was very, very like, I was sent to like the Tiffany School of Manners. You know, a lot of people don't realize, like, I was raised with money. Most people who coach on money mindset, manifestation, business stuff, they'll be like, I, you know, was sleeping in my car and now I'm a millionaire. It's like, I was raised in a very wealthy environment, which causes other issues. You know,
Yes.
You can imagine other thoughts like people with money are evil. I more so had that kind of narrative going, you know, but I was exposed to all these, so to speak, nice things, the ballet lessons, the privileged education. And I'm not saying that I'm not. Like, I did get all of those things.
Yes.
But it was the house of horrors behind the scenes. And people don't know what happens behind closed doors. Like, we would have people come over. I don't know if anyone has ever been to like a really rich person's house. By the way, you guys, I use humor as a coping skill. So hopefully no one's offended. So when people would come to the house, part of my job, I'm talking at like 6, was to give the grand tour. Like, how obnoxious. If someone did that to me today, I would laugh. Like, as an assumption, you would like the tour of the home. And I'm talking like I was like a realtor. Ugh. And I had to give a tour. I also had to offer cocktails.
You were there to serve.
I was there to serve. It wasn't, period. I'm talking wash the dishes for big lavish dinner parties. Yep. I had to get up. She'd give me a look. It was time to change over to from appetizers to main course to, I mean, and then she was an entrepreneur, which also brought up why I didn't want to be one, which is interesting that I am one.
Yeah.
And her clients would come, and the clients at that time period, think of like the 90s time period. Mm-hmm. I mean, we still have a lot of it now, but you have a lot of like male chauvinism, sexism. There's a lot of inappropriate stuff. And so these male clients who were top execs at major companies that everyone knows of I'd be like 7, I'd be 11, they'd grab my butt, they'd slap my butt, and I would have a tray and like bringing them like a whiskey on the rocks. And I knew how to make this. And I was forced to dress up in ways that like you would never dress up a kid now. Yeah. I mean, even though when I do see kids now, I'm like, why are we wearing this? That's like not good. But like, I'm talking, I look like a little miniature adult. Yeah. And I felt like one. So when this kind of stuff was happening, it wasn't like, oh, I know this is wrong, that all of that. No, it was like, well, I was so sexualized and I was there to serve that I actually thought my perception was off. I actually thought I looked like, because I was trained to say like, well, you almost like a Brooke Shields vibe, you know how like she was like 13 or something in Blue Lagoon and very sexualized, and that was made to be her fault. And that's what happened for me. I was like a Jaeger girl at 13, like in the clubs of Chicago. Like, what? That's crazy. And there's part of me that kind of liked that, because a lot of kids, you know, you want to be, I'm an adult, you know, and
attention.
yeah. And it's not like there was a kids table. I was at the adult table. I was there to serve, and it escalated. And starting at 11, then my mom started pimping me out to these clients. And it was like, these were either people who worked for her, like employees, or they were clients of hers. And I went on dates with them, like at hot spots, like major hot spots that still exist today in Chicago. Crazy. Remember TGIF Fridays? That was like a regular. I was taken out like on dates, like what people talk about, like the girlfriend experience. That's exactly how that looked, which is so bizarre when I look back. Like not one person flinched, gave a side eye, and I was looking for it too. I mean, like, because alcohol would be ordered. I had clear braces at 13, mind you, as well. But I was trained to not smile. Like, I was trained to not smile, like, to show my teeth. But it was insane. It was like no one did anything. But I understand now why no one did anything. No one wants to see that. That's the problem with like sex trafficking and like severe sexual abuse. Like people don't want to see what they're seeing, because who wants to believe that exists? And because my mom employed so many people and was in the newspaper a lot and was very, very attractive and had money and had some power, you know, a lot of people don't want to mess with like a narcissist. So even in school, even when I went in middle school to like the school nurse who gives you the ice pack for everything, I said something to the school nurse, and it wasn't like kept in confidence or anything. It was the abuse got worse. So I knew I had nowhere to go. I had to play along. I had nowhere to go. And that's where I developed this false self in order to survive. And I would watch people who seemed confident and like who I looked at as like they're important, you know, or they're confident, or they seem like strong. Like you hold your posture up. You're one of the first people in class to raise your hand. And so I did all of that. I mimicked all that, but it wasn't really me. But I had no identity, right? So there's so many, as you know, there's so many layers to this.
Yes.
But it was absolutely insane. And that lasted. I was pimped out from 11 to 21 years old. And that's when most people are like, wait a second, you went off to college? You know, and this was still happening. I was a fucking TV newscaster when it finally ended. I was on air at NBC and still involved with one of the main perpetrators who flew to Washington. And I went out. And thankfully, my news director, who I introduced him to, and we were out at like some bar, was like one of the first people who was like, WTF. Like he had a double major in psychology, very, very sharp person. And he was like, what the hell is this? And this person is not coming back here. And that was the first time someone truly advocated for me. And it pierced that moment of like denial that I was obviously put in, and I'm sure obviously you know the right terms, I don't, but my brain put me in.
Yeah.
That was normal. It was like, it jarred me out of it, like, oh, this isn't okay. Like I didn't like how it felt, but I didn't think I had a choice. Even at 21 years old, I just was taught, you know what, put my needs aside, put my boundaries aside, put my discomfort aside, and just do it. And just grit through it, do it, get it over with. And you can now see how that going into a career, going into like dating, what I attracted, what I repeated, what I did because of what I was taught. It was inevitable that that was going to happen.
Yeah. And as you're telling me this, I mean, I know this story, but just to sit across from you and hear it makes me very emotional just to think about what little Tiffany was going through. I don't want to cry. We'll probably cry today, but I just have so much empathy for you, and just knowing that you were in survival mode, obviously, all those years. And we think about the mother, and on this show, we talk a lot about the mother wound, right? That is the person that is supposed to see you and be attuned to your needs and support you and hold space. I mean, how have you coped with that mother wound and essentially learning now as an adult how to be your own parent, right? Like what does that journey look like? And then what is your relationship with your mom now?
I had to go no contact with my mom, and I think I've stopped keeping track of the years, which means it's been a while. I think I went no contact. It was before I started my podcast.
Yeah.
I had to do that that was holding me back. I was afraid. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Keep in mind, my dad died before my 25th birthday. She's my only living relative. So it's extra loaded, right? That would mean I'm alone without family in the world, right? Yeah. Even if the one family person is toxic, there's like a sense of belonging that goes there.
Yeah. I feel like we have to pause just for a second, because there's so many people listening to this show who they've been afraid to do that. And I just want to acknowledge you, though, that like sometimes that's what has to be done in order to heal. So if you're listening to the show and I mean, you're holding on to those relationships just because they're family, I think you can use Tiffany's story as inspiration. You had to do that on your healing journey.
To save myself, because it was keeping me in the pattern. And anytime I saw a text come through, a phone call, I don't have it anymore, but I had that like startle reflex, where I would jump. And I would jump, my heart would race when it was near Mother's Day time, her birthday, holidays, and I had to find like the right gift. And if it had been too long since I've contacted her or seen her, and I was in this constant state of, fight or flight. Mm-hmm. But I didn't do it. And a lot of people won't talk about this. And I think it's really important, because I know for a fact there's someone listening, more than someone, that is keeping with their person, not just because it's family, but because it's financial. And I felt like, and quite frankly, deserved to get the inheritance. Okay. Even though it's not my money, but I felt rightfully so.
Yeah.
Right. Like at least I'm going to get that. Okay. Now, the truth is, when you're dealing with a sick person, you don't really know what's true or not and what they have. You can kind of gauge, from the outside. There was obviously a certain level of wealth or money, but I wanted that. These types of people use that financial entanglement to manipulate as well. That's always kind of dangled there. Mm-hmm. And I was afraid, if I thought I could manage her and it like kind of get away with it. I was in therapy this whole time, mind you. I even did outpatient. So this is not me like going about this on my own. That's how hard this was for me to do. And I was afraid that if I, cut her off, now she's going to write me out of the will or whatever. And I made my own money. It's not like she's never handed me stuff. If she did, it was in a love bombing phase, like where it'd be like gifts were sent. She even would send like a credit card. That's tempting, to try to get me to come back. And she sent a credit card with my name on it. Whoa. In the mail. Yeah, that was tough. That was a tough one. And I remember putting that motherfucker in the shredder, and it was tough. Talk about temptation and manipulation. It was like dirty money. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what it felt dirty to me. And so that's what stopped me from taking it. But I had a therapist who's since retired, God bless her. And she said, what would happen? She passes. and she left it to a side of a building somewhere, or she left it to some dude, and it wasn't to you. Because it's not like I had some irrevocable trust paperwork in front of me. That's not how the financial manipulation works. Mm-hmm. And then you had spent all these years, your adult years, more years, compromising yourself, doing the dance, playing the game. And I said, I'd be so mad at myself. Yeah. I would be so mad at myself. I would hate her, but I'd be really mad at myself. And she's like, and you have no way of knowing, unless, of course, you got some paperwork. And even so,
is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Is it really worth it? And some people are like, well, yeah, if it was like $10 million, I would already be dead. Yeah. I would have already left this earth. I wouldn't be here. And it's part of a motivator for me today of empowering myself and empowering others to make their own money and to build their own dream life that no one can take away from them, because it is so empowering. And that is an underlying motivator for me. And so when I went no contact, it wasn't just no contact from her. I was also severing any sort of idea that I would have somewhere to go. And I already was an entrepreneur at this point, which is scary enough by itself, right? Mm-hmm. I had to sever the so to speak idea that I had like a parachute. Yeah. I would have a house to go stay at if I lost everything, or if I was in a like major trouble with something and back taxes, I would have somewhere to go. I was also cutting that off too. And that was really scary, but it had to be done. And I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I hadn't have done it, because I was being shackled. Even though I was no longer being sex trafficked, I was still in prison by remaining in relationship with this sort of toxic person. It was like an emotional prison.
Absolutely. And even, not being in contact all the time, but even just the door being open without the boundaries, you feel that energetically. We talk about the energy leaks that we have. So it makes complete sense to me why you had to cut it off completely. And that was a major part of your healing journey. What has been, we always talk about your why. This is not an easy healing journey for you. Entrepreneurship is not easy, but your healing journey has not been easy either. And I think there's a lot of people that they just focus on the money and the business, but they don't also show up for their healing journey. You are one of the rare people where you have shown up for both, right? What has been your why when it comes to your healing journey? Why keep going through the hard stuff and processing the triggers and not just numbing it out? Like, why? What keeps you going on your healing journey?
Only someone does the healing would ever ask me that. So I want to acknowledge you, because I've been interviewed thousands of times, and you're one of 3 people who's ever asked me that. So like attracts like, right?
Yes.
It's because you do your own work. And it's work for the rest of your life. And it is fucking work from the moment I wake up in the morning. Some days are easier, but I have that relentless voice. Sometimes it's a tickle in the back. It's, I refer to as like a critical parent. Some people say an inner bully, or ego. Sometimes it's a whisper. Sometimes it is whacking me around. And there's doesn't have to be a trigger for it. There doesn't have to be like some event that happened, or it could be something subconscious. So I have to continue to do that work daily. The initial phase, I actually do compare it to almost like a first year of marriage or your first 2 years of business. When you really go deep in the healing, that first, I would say, year and a half of healing is brutal. Okay. It's very hard. People want to bypass the pain and go around it. You can't heal that way. You have to go through the pain. Yeah. And that's what's on the other side. Trying to go around it is what is prolonging it. And I went around it for a lot of my life. I tried everything. People, places, things, substances, workout, addiction, workaholism, partying. I mean, I really tried everything until it was like, there is no way around except through. And what made me do it and makes me do it today is because that healed version of me helps heal millions. I wouldn't be able to be here talking about what I talk about. I wouldn't have been able to do my book. I wouldn't be able to have the podcast. I wouldn't have been able to help you. And now you're helping people. I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't do that work. I do it for the people who are still in it.
Yeah.
And I know how hard that is. And I know how hard it is to believe you'll ever get out of it. And I don't even mean it like in a victim-y way. It just feels so far away what you want. And I feel genuinely it's a God purpose of mine of why all this happened to me. I don't wish it on someone else. I'm not going to be someone like, and this all happened for a reason and I'm happy it happened. No, I'm not happy that happened. I'm a servant of God, of spirit, of the universe. Mm-hmm. And that happened because our world needs healing and people need healed leaders to say, you can do this. I promise you, I know what's on the other side. And it's hard. And you're not going to get some bullshit circle talk platitudes from me, which makes it worse, which makes people feel more alone. And that's why I'm willing to be so raw and so vulnerable and show up looking unattractive, showing up being silly, showing up crying, you know, like I'm willing to do that because I want people to know like there's nothing wrong with you. What most people are putting out there is bullshit. And they're doing it because either they're afraid or they feel they have to, or it won't make them money. But I'm doing what I wish I had. And I didn't have it. I read all the books. There are books in existence now, and there are some people now, you know, like you're one of them. There are people in existence now who I feel seen, right? Yes. And who are really go deep with it. But for most of my life, there was nobody talking about this kind of stuff. And so then it just fed into the shame and I'm inherently flawed and something is wrong with me. And that's why it's way bigger than myself. Quite frankly, there are times when, and it sounds bad, but I know you'll get this. I'm not enough. Even though I'm worth it, I'm worth being alive, I'm worth being here. I know that. But in the hard times, that is not enough to keep going. There are times when that's just not enough. There has to be something even bigger for me to be able to show up, like a bigger collective. Because it's not like, oh, I have family who would be alone without me. My friends are my family. I have a dog, you know, but I don't have kids. I've chosen not to. So it's not like I live for them. No, it's for like the greater good.
That's beautiful. I love that you're so vulnerable in sharing that. And I mean, you have so many people that need you, that love you, and you've been able to connect to them because of service and your commitment to that service. So I love that you are so connected to your mission. And I mean, you know, like my life would not be the same without you, and I'm just one of, you know, probably millions of people that feel that way. So you are just so loved. And I think do you still do this thing? Or early on when I connected with you, you talk about like Polly, the influencer, like the person that has it all together. Their life looks perfect. They're posting their first class flights and their perfect relationship, and their hair, their makeup's always perfect. And we have so much of that in our world now.
It's out of control. And in every area about relationships, yes. Like, oh, you know, like my king, if I see one more thing about someone's king, and like, even like influencers that I find entertaining, where it's like the husband every morning is bringing them like an iced coffee and a breakfast bagel in bed every morning. It's like, first of all, this is staged. Okay. Like, I'm not saying that doesn't happen sometimes in a good relationship, but like, come on. Yeah. This is not like every single day, every single human is perfect. And if someone is acting like that, they're a sociopath and they're murdering people on the side. Like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
You know, and it's it gives this false perception, which goes back to feeding the narrative of something's wrong with me. Why can't I find a partner like this? Something's wrong with me. Why isn't my business making, $100,000 a week while I do nothing? Something, it has to be wrong with me. Even in the world of like fitness. Oh, like I eat like this and I do these kind of workouts and like I'm still struggling and I don't look like that. Like I must be doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. And you're not doing anything wrong. It's that you are looking at something and it has messed up your level of like realistic expectations.
Yes.
And that we have to own. And I've fallen for some of this stuff too. I can get into comparison. If I were to say like one of the traits I go into if I'm in fear, and we all have things that we do when we're in fear. We're human beings. I can start comparing, especially to these people who like, I have the most amazing, loving, supportive family because I don't have the family. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, my business all happens with ease and I barely lift a finger and all this money's coming in. It's when I also know it's not true. When someone's not telling the full story, and it makes me enraged. It's such a waste of my energy to even get enraged, but I get enraged because it's so misleading, but it also motivates me to keep showing up.
You and I are the same, because when I see those people that say, oh, I just took red ink and I wrote all the traits I wanted in my partner and I put it under my pillow at night and then I attracted my dream partner. BS. I hate these ideas of, oh, we can just get what we want and it's perfect and easy. No, there's always messiness. If it seems perfect, it's not real.
It's a scam.
It's a scam.
Yeah, and you have to take responsibility too. And I include myself. I've fallen for stuff like this. I call it fantasy marketing in the health weight loss world because I've always had I guess we could call it like struggle with my weight. It's related to my trauma, because when I feel scared, my weight goes up. It's like a fat buffer. This is, as you know,
100%
very, very common.
Absolutely. It's protection.
And it's like, I have to keep reminding myself and reparenting my inner child, like, we're safe, and you can literally see it if you're bored and you go on my TikTok, you will literally see it's like, go click, 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 click up, click, click, click down. And I just realized this recently, and I don't know why I'm sharing this, maybe because someone needs to hear it. I've recently done a glow up, like a whole like gut health, hormone, all the things. I got down to, I'm 5'8", so I got down to 145 pounds, which is like, that's where like I start looking in the mirror and going, okay, girl, like this feels good. Like I feel good in my body. Mm-hmm. I'm talking within days, and it was subconscious until I caught it. Within days, it started going back up. I didn't eat differently. I didn't work out differently. And you want to know why? Because that zone of 135, 145, that's when I was being abused. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's when a lot of the abuse was going on. And so my body sees that weight as like vulnerable, like danger zone. So then I've fallen for the, okay, like now I've gained weight. Now I need to go buy the shake weight. Now I need to go buy this like special like nutrient system. I've probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on that BS stuff. Yeah. So we have to own our role in it. Like, why are we looking for the easy way? It's understandable as a human, we want things easy. Yeah. But that isn't the easy way. It's the harder way. It delays you from getting the relationship, the career, the money, the business, the body. It delays. Yes. I mean, it can delay you for decades.
I always say, do you want to have the Band-Aid or do you want surgery? You gotta do the deep work to really fix it.
And some people have to get the Band-Aid enough times. Mm-hmm. And spend money on the Band-Aid, time and energy on the Band-Aid before they reach it. I call it like your fuck it point, where you're like, and that's a great point to reach, where you're like, okay, enough's enough already. Like I'm the common denominator. It's like deep, true ownership of
Yes.
yourself. It's like when I was dating the United Nations and I would go after like, oh, well, it's because like I'm not going to date rich guys anymore. I'm not going to date broke guys. I'm not going to date black guys. I'm not going to, it's like and then I'd like switch it all up. And then at some point it became undeniable that I was
It's me. Yeah.
it was
100%.
me.
I have been there too, honestly. We have that moment. Okay, I have some kind of fun questions I want to ask you. Well, I think they're fun. We'll see what the audience
Okay.
thinks. I want to know, what are like 2 to 3 of your best practices for taking care of yourself, for aligning with your secure, highest and best Tiff? Like, what are just some of your favorite things that you do right now? Because I know it changes. It's not always the same things.
Yeah, first I would say you want to experiment and see what works for you, and what worked for you like a month ago might not work today.
Yes.
So having like a whole bag of tricks, I have to have slow mornings, slow and quiet.
You guys, she did not have that this morning to be here at this recording. So thank you, Tiffany.
I did, but I did bake it in though.
You did still get
right.
it in.
So
Okay, good.
that's part of what, even if it's 15 minutes,
Okay.
to have it slow, but ultimately how I've designed my life is like my mornings are how I enter the morning. It feels safe to me. It feels
Yes.
slow. Listen, life's not perfect. Like stuff can come up, but really pour into myself first. Hence the name of my show, Project Me, right? We're the most exceptional project of our lives. It reminds me, okay, not work first, not I have to first, not this person first, unless of course, like I have a contract or a promise to someone. But what am I doing to pour into me first? So whether that be like Pilates, whether that me looking at the ocean, like sipping coffee, whether that may be like taking an abundance walk, then I would say the next thing I do, it is next level self-talk. And it is all day long. And it's developing the muscle and the discipline for it. I talk to myself out loud. I answer myself. I've become my own best friend. Basically, I've become, before like ChatGPT, I became my own ChatGPT. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I will say, okay, what's going on with you? Like I woke up this morning in fear because I had someone pull the rug out from under me a few days ago. And that is not a good feeling, right? So I woke up in fear. It's like, okay, acknowledging the fear. It makes sense that you're in fear. What do you need right now? What can we do that'll make you feel more safe? And like fully having a dialogue between my higher self, so like my loving parent, my inner child, and inner teenager. A lot of people have heard the inner child stuff, but the inner teenager is important because like most people's inner teenagers they're the rebellious ones. They're the ones who procrastinate. They're the ones who are like, screw you, like vengeful, comparison. They're sassier.
I was going through an emo stage. I was wearing all black.
Oh
I
I'm
box dyed
dying.
my hair black.
I'm
I used to
dying.
go to school with my electric guitar.
No, you did not.
I did, with all of the band stickers on the guitar case, and I would like carry my guitar around.
I'm dying.
This was so the
This is
teenager visual
amazing.
that really
Like the
resonates.
you had like
Oh,
the
yeah,
angry teen.
for sure. Go to Warped Tour. I was a Warped Tour girl. Anyways,
I'm
you're
dying.
giving me visuals.
Yeah, and that I was similar in terms I had a lot of like anger. So I talk to my inner family. And sometimes, yes, I'm like, I joke all the time, like I'm unwell in the mind. I am unwell in the mind. Like I have to do this and keep that communication open. Otherwise, they start running the show. You don't want your inner child running the show. You don't want your inner teenager running the show. That's usually when like a lot of sabotage type behaviors occur. So I have to like keep them in check.
Yes.
Just like if I had an actual like physical family. So I would say those are the two things. And then the third is I have guardrails. I invest in guardrails. I know it's different depending on different income levels, but I just want to be fully transparent. I probably spend around $12,000 a month where I'm at, at this stage in my life, having coaches, My therapist is like cash only. Okay, she's amazing. And making sure that I have the people to go to. I'm in a support group. For me, I have to pay in order for me to show up. If it's free, I'll start making excuses. I don't have to go. I'll be like late. I won't do like, the suggested homework. But when I am paying, and I'm paying an amount that's like, I respect my money, that's like noticeable, and it's with someone who I respect, it makes me show up and follow through. Now, what did I do when I wasn't making the kind of money I'm making now? I still made sure it was a stretch. It was still thousands of dollars because it makes me show up. It has the guardrails that are in there. If I don't have that, when I say on the podcast, I really would do almost nothing. Like 70% of the time, I don't want to do anything. I really mean that. I am not some type A, like, let's get it done and like get all the tasks on the list. That's not me. I'm type C. I'm chill. Like a whole day could go by and nothing could happen. And I like move like papers around and like wipe my counter 3 times. That's just, it's like just how I am, right? Like I can go off. I'm aware and I'm humble enough. It doesn't matter that I teach this stuff. It doesn't matter. I've been 5 million years of therapy. I'm still a human being who's gone through extreme trauma, and I still have a default mode. And you can't see the whole picture when you're standing in the frame. You have to have trusted people who help you see it.
Yes.
Because the cost of you keep going down like the forest and you're going in the wrong direction is years of time and a lot of pain. I would rather pay to have people help keep me navigated on like the abundant path.
Absolutely.
But I don't think a lot of people love the answers I just gave, because the answers I just gave require you to show up and do stuff.
And I know that there's people listening where they go, Tiffany, you're a multimillionaire. You have all this money. How could you have problems? Can you talk to kind of that myth of, okay, when I'm rich, then I'll be happy? And what is money actually? Like, I really want to hear your take on that.
I used to think that. And I used to think it about a guy too. When I find the partner, then I will be. When I reach a size 6, which was my size, I always said. It's like, who cares? But anyway, it'd be when I reach this size, when I get the partner, when I get the promotion when I was in corporate, when I hit 6 figures. Well, then guess what we do? We move the target. 6 figures wasn't enough. Then I needed to make, a couple $100,000. Once I have $1 million in the bank, then I hit $1 million in the bank when I was 30. And I remember right when it happened. I mean, I saw the 7 figures in my bank account, which is a very cool feeling. But I saw that nothing changed. Nothing changed. I mean, 11 years ago, you guys, where I have millions in the bank, I went to off myself 11 years ago on my birthday. It did not matter. Those are all external factors. I had a spiritual hole, a God-shaped hole, some people say. It's an inside job. I was trying to fill it with the outsides. The right friends, going to Coachella, like, what
is it about Coachella?
It sounds so...
Every girl has this wound of like, I just want to go to Coachella.
It's the Coachella wound. I'm dead. That's hysterical. And it was like, I had to have if I had this and I had this car, and then it became, right, like, then some people do it with like followers, and it's all external. If you're not right with yourself, there's no amount of external anything. I don't care how amazing of a partner. I don't care how much money. And listen, it's way better to be rich than broke. Okay. I've been broke. I made $17,000 a year. Like, I know what that feels like. I'm not taking away from it.
It's a tool.
Right. It gives you way more options. It does give you freedom. It does give you peace of mind, as long as how you're getting that money you're not sacrificing yourself, your well-being, all of your time, your sanity, your body in order to get it. So when I built my first business, which I still have, it's an digital marketing and branding agency in the medical consumer packaged goods sector that I had. How I built that first one was all based on my trauma. Giving, discounting, over delivering. I mean, and I was a disaster. And then once I went to another level of healing, and when I started and built Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and business coaching brand, that grew so much faster with me working less because I had the guardrails.
Yes.
I had the boundaries, I had the intention, and I wasn't obsessed with the external factors. I can still get caught up in it sometimes when I'm in fear. Don't get me wrong, where I get pissed off at the algorithm. Like, this is bullshit, and why is this person getting this and not me? And I know they're full of shit. You know, I can get self-righteous and caught in that too. But ultimately, my level of self-worth and this grounded confidence you're hearing, why it's so sincere, is it has nothing to do with those external things.
That's beautiful. It's such a good reminder. Such a good reminder. You know, I think about money as a multiplier of what you already have. A relationship is a multiplier. Nothing comes in and fills the void.
I tried, you guys. I tried everything.
too.
I mean,
Same.
everything and everyone.
Yeah.
It might seem like it works in the beginning, but that's called oxytocin.
Yeah, it's temporary. It's a temporary fix. Okay, I have a few other questions for you. You know I could talk to you for hours, but okay, you were at my wedding, which was amazing to
Oh my
me.
God.
And
I was a mess. I was crying the whole time. People were like, it was so beautiful for so many reasons.
yeah, the audience, you know, I feel like they would have all wanted to come. So as someone who was there, I mean, what was like your experience of it?
The purity and the simplicity. Ooh, I'm getting emotional because it goes with what we just said. It wasn't flashy.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like, and a lot of people have these grand weddings and they're like inviting like business associates and strangers. It wasn't that. It was a securely attached wedding. I'm being serious.
I love that.
It really was,
Yeah.
you know, where it was just genuine. It was straight up truth. And that's what was so beautiful about it. And there was no errors about anything. And I think that anyone who could have been in presence of that, it was like, this is real love. This is deep love, not the I'm so obsessed with you. I'm giving you like a Cartier stack of bracelets before, you know, our wedding. It was like, no, this is my grounded, deep person, period. And that typically doesn't come across as exciting, right? And so it's such a good example to witness what that really looks like, because there were elements that were like fairy tale, like, because, you know, first of all, I was like, where the hell? It was literally in the country,
It was
people.
in the middle of nowhere.
I was like,
Gravel
I'm talking
road.
to like, and not a gravel road for like 100 feet. Like, I'm talking for miles.
Yes.
So you had that whole like, you know, country cute, like vibe. So there was still like the aesthetic, but it was the undercurrent feeling of it is like, it was grounded because you and Robert are grounded.
Thank you.
And it wasn't like the little girl fairy tale, like where honestly, we're kind of gaslit by some of those fairy tales. Like, it has to be this whole thing.
Yeah.
And the guy, or, you know, whoever you're into, the guy or the girl has to be this, like, have all this swagger and be this prince and whatever. And it was like, no, this is the real deal.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It was so meaningful to have you there, and just obviously you being part of my journey and getting to celebrate that day with you. I'll remember that forever. I want to ask you a couple other questions. Number one, how can people connect with you? What is your favorite way to connect with people?
I would say, and I'm sure it'll be in the show notes, if you want to like connect with me and DM me and say like what you liked about the episode, first of all, like taking a screenshot and sharing this episode would go a long way, because now we're spreading this, or you even sharing it with a friend who you know could appreciate it, like someone who you know who's been through some abuse or trauma, because there aren't that many resources. But on Instagram, I'm at Project Me with Tiffany, same with TikTok. And I would say a good place to start if you're wanting to hear more of my story, not where it's like all about Tiffany. The story is told in a level of detail that if you've dealt with a narcissist or a toxic parent of any kind, you will feel seen, and it'll help you connect the dots. Where it's going to bring up stuff, but like in a good way. Like, oh my God, that wasn't my fault. Oh my God, that's why I think this way. And we'll make sure that link is in the show notes. I have a special section on my podcast that just says book, so you can binge the first 5 chapters.
Perfect.
And I think that is a really great place to go deeper.
Perfect. Okay, I want to ask you 2 more things. Number 1, what are you most excited about right now?
I'm excited that I don't know for once.
Ooh.
Meaning I can feel it in my body that I'm going through like a major timeline jump, and like people are being removed from my life. Things are shifting, but it's for a good reason, even though it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I am probably for the first time doing a really good job of not trying to control it.
Yay.
And step out of the way and allow God, allow the universe, and really have that trust and surrender of where I'm going.
Good.
And follow that path. And I'm excited to do that because I've already done it the other way, trying to figure it out, strategize. I've done that, and that has worked to a certain point. Now I'm like really taking my hands off the wheel, which required a lot of healing work to be able to do that, because I love me some certainty. So I'm excited about that.
Making space.
Yep.
That's beautiful. I love it. Okay. For the person who is just connecting with you, and let's say that they are kind of stuck, but they know they want to get out of corporate. They want to do their own thing. They're like, I love Dr. Morgan and her show, and I want my own podcast, and I want my own brand. What would be just the first thing you would say to them? Like just the very first step.
I would say that if you have that desire in you, that there's something more you're supposed to do, I would trust that, because there's millions of people who genuinely don't even have that thought. Their thought is, I want to get a promotion, or maybe I want to, go into a different field within this company or another company, which is also fine. They don't have the thought. So you have the thought. If you've had that desire or thought, and it's not just like on one hot Friday night having some wine, it's something that you keep having, then you owe it to yourself to pursue it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying up and quit your job, to go pursue it. But I would really take a look at who is it I want to serve, and why do I want to serve them? Because it can't just be about, I want to like have a podcast and talk about relationships, and so that I can like travel and like do cool shows and interview people. Like that's fine. That is part of it. But it's got to be for a deeper reason, because the shit gets hard and the shit gets real. And just like anything else in life, there's ups and downs. And if you're not in it to truly serve your people, you won't be able to stay in the thing. You won't show up regardless, as I say.
1,000%. That's beautiful advice. I love that. Okay, my final question. I'm changing it up for you. This came to me this morning. I usually have a different question, but I want to ask you this one, and we're going to wrap up. What is your wish, dream, hope for humanity, for the world?
Especially right now, our world is in so much pain and in so much fear. and in so much discomfort, it is palatable, especially those of us who are highly sensitive or empaths or intuitives, which I'm sure a lot of people listening are because Dr. Morgan is wired that way. And I truly believe those of us who have wisdom, who have experiences, who have skills, who come, from a heart-based place, we're being called to rise to the next level, to the collective, because our world needs more honest, transparent people who actually give a shit, but who are enlightened and awake and do the work. Because we've gotten way too heavy on like the toxic side, way too heavy on the negative. And that is why I believe so many people are feeling this pull. You're feeling it too. We've had conversations offline about feeling pull to take things bigger and expand more. And it's almost gives you like an itching feeling, like it has to happen. It's time. And I keep saying on my channels, it's time to rise. It's because we're being called by truly a higher source because of the pain that the world is in. And I would say something that every single person that would make a big difference that could do immediately today, it doesn't have to be online, it can be in like the privacy of one-on-one conversations, is show up truly as you are on any given day. When someone asks you how you are, not that you have to sit there and like share your life story, but like be honest about it. It'll make someone feel so much less alone. Even if you say like, today's not been great so far, but I'm hoping it'll turn around. Yeah. Even saying something like that, and me doing that online and offline you can see people exhale, opening the door to these conversations where it's like, oh, it's not just me. Okay, I do feel a sense of like heaviness. I'm not alone. And you can do that with anyone. And then it also reminds you, right, that you're not crazy in these thoughts. This shit's wild, what's going on.
Yes.
Like all the energy of the world, it is that wild. It's not because you're too sensitive. It's not, it's not, but it really is that way.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. It has been such a joy to talk with you. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for being you. You are such a gift to me, to all the people you help. Go listen to her show, Project Me with Tiffany. It is an amazing show. One of the only podcasts I listen to this day. Seriously.
I'm so honored.
It is. I just adore you. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. I love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you. And to everyone who's listening, of course, Tiffany and I are wishing you high self-worth and great relationships. We'll talk to you soon.